We are on the record for hearings in the matters listed in the North Dakota Industrial Commission hearing docket for October 22nd. I'm David Garner, hearing examiner for these hearings. We're at the hearing room of the Department of Mineral Resources Oil and Gas Division, and it is 9 a.m. On the docket, the following matters will be continued or dismissed. Case number 31982 continued. Case number 32210 continued. Case number 32211 continued. Case number 32216 dismissed. Case number 32232 dismissed. Case number 32009 continued. Case number 32233 dismissed. Case number 32234 dismissed. Case number 32239 dismissed. Case number 32240 dismissed. Case number 32241 dismissed. On the supplement, case number 31928 continued. Case number 31929 continued. Case number 31930 continued. Case number 31977 continued. Case number 32004 continued. Case number 31960 continued. Case number 31966 continued. Case number 31967 continued. Case number 31968 continued. Case number 31969 continued. The administrative docket starts on page 5 with case number 32218 and goes through case number 31969 on the supplement. These cases will be heard in the next room with Michael Zisch. Audio recordings of the cases in the administrative docket will be placed on the Oil and Gas website by the end of the week. If you wish to appear on one of the matters in the administrative docket, please appear in the next room. If there is opposition to the matter, it will be brought back into this hearing room to be heard, and your statements and evidence will be taken.
Mr. Examiner, we were just discussing with counsel, and we noted that 32213 was dismissed late yesterday afternoon. So 32213 on page 4 is dismissed.
Okay, thank you. 32214. 13. Okay. We will begin with case number 31928. I'm sorry, that's incorrect. 32202. Application of Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Muddy Bakken Pool, Williams County, North Dakota, to 1. Establish 2 overlapping stand-up 25-60 acre spacing units described as sections 14, 23, 26, and 35, and sections 15, 22, 27, and 34, Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit. 2. Establish 3 overlapping stand-up 51 20-acre spacing units described as sections 13, 14, 23, 24, 25, 26, 35, and 36, sections 14, 15, 22, 23, 26, 27, 34, and 35, and sections 15, 16, 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34, Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on each such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Kraken Operating LLC. Have 3 witnesses in each of these Kraken cases. It'll be Justin Payne, Brian Lucero, and Samuel Fonseca, and they're all, I believe, on the teams.
Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne?
See him there, just... Justin, can you hear us?
He's muted. Message in the chat icon.
Did you see that ring? If we are muted, it said we are muted.
How about now, Justin?
Yeah, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Mr. Payne, do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Justin, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Justin Payne. I'm employed by Kraken Resources. Our business address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas 77024, and I'm employed as a landman.
And have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with each of these requested spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Payne be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Justin, starting with your exhibit L1, if you could just identify the area of these requested spacing units.
Sure. Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map showing Township 158 North, Range 101 West in Williams County, North Dakota. The outline in yellow is the Little Muddy Bakken Pool for the entire township there, and the red box is the proposed spacing for today's docket.
Okay. Then let's move on to L2. And if you could identify the two proposed 2560s you're asking for, and then your working interest in those spacing units.
Okay. Exhibit L2 is our map showing sections 15, 22, 27, and 34 for the bottom 2,560 acre spacing with 95.86% working interest. On the right side, you'll see the red or pink for sections 14, 23, 26, and 35. That's going to be the bottom pink 2560 recap showing Kraken with a working interest of 93.45%.
Okay. And moving on to L3, let's work through the requested 5120s.
L3 is the first one of the 5120s for sections 13, 14, 23, 24, 25, 26, 35, and 36, showing Kraken with a working interest of 97.68%. This 5120 lease line is highlighted in yellow on the right side of that map up top.
Sure. And then let's move on L4 to the next 5120.
L4 is just moving over just to the west there, showing in the gray highlighted 5120. This is going to be sections 14, 15, 22, 23, 26, 27, 34, and 35, with Kraken with a working interest of 94.65%.
Okay. And then finally L5 in the last 5120.
So L5 is one more over to the west, showing the 5120 highlighted in blue. This is going to be sections 15, 16, 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34, with Kraken with a working interest of 94.66%.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Justin, are you or is someone else going to testify about the existing space units and the overall spacing pattern development in this area?
I can testify towards that.
So 211 and 14 are currently a stand-up 1920, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And likewise with 310 and 15?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who applied to establish those spacing units?
I do not know off the top of my head. No, sir. So not at this time.
And then sections 23, 26, and 35, and 22, 27, 34 are also stand-up 1920s.
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Do you know who applied for those spacing units?
No, I do not off the top of my head. I believe it may have been Crescent Point, since it's a lot of the old Crescent Point stuff.
then there's a number of lease line 3840s that are also affected by the lease line 5120s.
Yes, sir.
In fact, I think there would be 6 of them if I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
So I assume with this application, Crew Crack would want those terminated.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
This question's for you or your engineering witness. If you have any discussion or ideas on what's going to happen to sections 2 and 11 and sections 3 and 10 if this application is approved.
I can have our engineering, Sam Fonseca, speak to that if that's okay.
That's fine. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Lucero,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir, I do.
Brian, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, sir. My name is Brian Lucero. I'm employed by Kraken Resources as their geology manager. Our address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas, 77024.
And Brian, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony Mr. Lucero be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Brian, let's start with G1. Can you describe the structure underlying each of these proposed spacing units?
Yes, sir. Exhibit G1 is the structure map for the township based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation. 50-foot contour interval showing general dip to the south-southeast. It also shows the location of our type log.
Okay, and moving on to G2, can you take us through your ISOPAC map?
G2 is our ISOPAC of the Middle Bakken across the township, showing generally around 44 feet of Middle Bakken. Again, it also shows the location of our type log.
Okay, and then looking at G3, if you could walk us through the type log and explain what you're showing there.
G3 is our type log for this area. It is the Peterson number 1-14A, and this is a representative log for the units in question.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Lucero. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Fonseca,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Samuel, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yeah. Samuel Fonseca. I am employed by Kraken Resources as a reservoir engineer, and our address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas 77024.
And Samuel, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these proposed spacing units?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Fonseca be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Samuel, let's start with E1. I think you kind of got broken down by spacing unit for each of these proposed wells from, looks like from west to east, but let's start with that first 5120 E1. How would you develop that?
Sure. The exhibit E1 shows our proposed development diagram for the Goldsmith Tripuca Lease West, outlined in navy. That shows just a lease line well on top of that lease line, 4-mile development between sections 15, 16, 21, 22, 27, 28, and 33 and 34.
Okay. Then let's move on to E2 then. If you could describe how you would develop that western 2560.
Sure. Exhibit E2 shows the wells in question, Goldsmith, Tripuca, outlined in green, shows 3 wells within the unit in sections 15, 22, 27, and 34.
Okay. Then moving on to E3, the 5120 for that section line between those 2560s.
Yeah, Exhibit E3 shows our Goldsmith Tripuca lease east, just on that lease line in between sections 15, 14, 22, 23, 27, 26, and 34 and 35. It's outlined in dark gray.
Okay. And then moving on to the next one, E4, how would you develop that 2560?
Exhibit E4 shows our McWhorters Walters in-unit wells in sections 14, 23, 26, 35. Those are our other 4-milers.
Okay. And then finally E5, that final 5120 lease line well.
Exhibit E5 shows the McWhorters Walters lease east lease line drilled on top of that lease line between sections 13, 14, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 35, 36.
Okay. Then E6, look at that exhibit and describe for us how you would propose to drill and complete the wells.
Yeah, these wells will all be drilled and completed the same way. Exhibit E6 is our lateral wellbore schematic for 20,000-foot laterals, showing our conductor casing, surface casing, intermediate casing, and production liner. These wells will be plugged and perf and will have 168 foot per stage.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and move on to E7. Can you take us through the reservoir data?
Exhibit E7 shows some of the reservoir properties here, starting off with the middle Bakken thickness in this area, around 40 to 50 feet. Some of the surface properties, initial reservoir pressure at 5,800 PSI with an estimated porosity between 8 to 9% and water saturation roughly between 50 and 70%. With the 2560 acreage, we estimate a recovery factor of 3 to 4%, and we're modeling GOR steadily increasing up to 1,500. And then holding flat after that. We estimate at the well recovery to be around 700,000 barrels of oil.
Okay. And then, Samuel, it looks like E8, also reservoir data, but for the 5120. Is it essentially the same other than the sort of change in acreage of the spacing units and then that impact on the recovery factor?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Let's move on then to E9 and the economics.
Sure. Exhibit E9 shows our single well economics for our 2560. As previously mentioned, we estimate the well to recover 700,000 barrels of oil with a well capex of $12.2 million, and I ran this at $60 oil, $3.25 gas. Holding that flat yields an IRR of 33.24% and a net present value of 10% of $3.4 million. The discounted return on investment here is 1.37, and the discounted payout is a little shy of 3 years. We have midstream gathering dedicated, oil for Kraken marketing, gas dedicated to ONEOK, and water will be handled by Hydro Services.
Okay. And then E10, it looks like economics for those lease line wells in the 5120. Is the economics essentially the same?
They're the same, yes.
And then, Samuel, I think you heard Mr. Bohr's question about development to the north, with 3 and 10, 2 and 11. Do you have any thoughts on potential development for those lands?
Yes, so we operate the wells in sections 3, 10, 2, 11, 1, and 12. So our current plan is to develop 3-mile laydowns in those units. That's currently what we have in store.
Sure. And Samuel, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve these 2560s and then the 5120s for those lease line wells. Would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions. I'm after the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Samuel, on Exhibit E1, in the blue box, are those wells going to be, or I guess you can use any exhibit you want, but where are the surface locations for these proposed horizontal wells?
Yeah, we plan to drill all these from the southern acreage, so sections 3, there will be a surface location in between the navy blue and the green slanted well. That will be one surface location. The other surface location will be on the lease line between sections 2 and 3 at the southern acreage, and then the last surface location will be towards the eastern side of section 2 to service the lease line east well and then the McWhorters Walters well.
So I lost you there, and I apologize, but when you said section 2, my mind went to the north instead of the south. So could you go through that again, please?
Sure. So we plan to drill these from the south. We are planning for 3 pad locations. And so one of the pads will be on the western side of section 3 at the bottom there. The other will be between sections 2 and 3 to service the lease line well, one of the Goldsmith Tripuca wells, and then one of the McWhorters Walters. And then the last pad will be closer to on section 2, closer to the east side, to service the McWhorters Walters, the McWhorters Walters lease line east, and another McWhorters Walters.
Okay, thank you.
Sammy, what's your anticipated spud date on these wells?
We currently have them in the schedule between fourth quarter 26 to first quarter of 27.
And the current existing producers of 1522 and 2734, are those wells going to be continued to produce after you've done your completions, or are they going to be plugged and abandoned?
They will continue to produce. We frac protect them, and we frac protect them for about a month or so until we have a handle on bottom hole pressures, and after that we bring them back online to continue to produce.
Are you anticipating drilling your lease line wells on the section line, or are you going to be offsetting?
On.
Well, we'll start with Exhibit E1, going from your furthest west section line well and working your furthest east. Are you drilling it on the section line, or are you going to offset it to the east or west?
That they will all be on the section line.
Okay,
so the west. Okay.
Are all of those pad locations new build locations, or are they reoccupation of existing pads?
They will be new builds.
Okay.
Sam, I have one additional question. I don't know if it was addressed in the testimony, but are all these wells planned to be drilled in the middle member of the Bakken?
Yes, sir. These are all Middle Bakken wells.
Okay, thank you.
Concludes our hearing for case number 32202. Case number 32203. Application of Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Muddy, Otter, and or Good Luck Bakken Pools, Williams County, North Dakota to 1. Establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 28 and 33, Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and sections 4 and 9, Township 157 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit. 2. Establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 28, 29, 32, and 33, Township 158 North, Range 101 West, and sections 4, 5, 8, and 9, Township 157 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit. Or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Kraken Operating LLC. Same 3 witnesses will testify in this case.
And they're still under oath.
And Justin, let's look at L1. Can you identify the area of the proposed spacing units?
Sure. L1 is our regional locator map showing the Little Muddy Bakken Pool in Township 158 North, Range 101 West, Williams County, North Dakota. Highlighted in the top there in pink. To the bottom left, you can see the Good Luck Bakken Pool in Township 157 North, Range 101 West. And then directly adjacent to that, you'll see the Otter Bakken Pool in 157-101, highlighted in blue.
Okay. Then let's move on to L2, and if I can have you identify each of these spacing units in your working interest.
Sure. So we'll start with the blue one there on the west side for sections 29 and 32, sections 5 and 8. So we do not have any working interest in there, but in the pink to the left, we have 28 and 33, 4 and 9, where Kraken holds 44.26% working interest. And then for the lease line, we hold 22.13% working interest.
Okay. And Justin, you'd work with other operators with respect to operatorship of the spacing units?
Yes, we do plan on working with other operators right there to the west, which is Interplus, regarding this lease line.
Yep. I have no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Justin, there are a number of stand-up 1920s in this area, consisting of in 158, 101, 49, and 16, 21, 28, and 33, and then in 157, 101, 49, and 16, and 21, 28, and 33 again. To the south, I believe, is covered by the next case, but on the north side, 4, 9, and 16 are stand-up 1920. So if this application is approved, what's going to happen to section 21?
I believe that's on the next docket here for section 16, 21, and 28 and 23 in case number 32204 that kind of covers that section 21 to the south there.
No,
That's correct, but what about to the north?
we haven't spaced those.
We have not yet spaced those yet. I believe that we do plan on doing that in the future. At this time, we are not applying for those.
So my question still is, what's going to happen to section 21 and 158, 101? It's between, if this application is approved, it's between a stand-up 1920 consisting of 4, 9, and 16, and between your proposed stand-up 2560, which is 28, 33, 4, and 9.
You have Keith North there.
We have a 4 miler. It's 2116, I have 4. It's going to be 4 miler.
Just to the north of there?
Yeah.
We do have a 4 mile plan to the north of there for 21, 16, 4, and 9.
Is that a future application?
Yes, sir.
Do you know when that's going to come forth?
Not at this time, not exact date, but we are planning on it within the near future for these planning circumstances.
So will that be a Kraken application?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Will that application come from Kraken?
I believe so, yes, sir.
So if Kraken doesn't propose it, what happens to section 21?
I believe there's an existing well in there. Yeah.
Well, the commission's concern is that if Kraken doesn't make that application and 4, 9, and 16 get developed as a stand-up 1920, which is permissible right now, what's going to happen to section 21?
In that case, it would be stranded. With the 4 mile development north of there, then it would be developed.
And the commission's concern is that it does not get stranded.
Correct. We do not plan on stranding that. We do plan on a 4 mile north of there later on.
But you don't know when.
Not at this time. We were kind of focused on just spacing these at this time. This and the case right after this going south for now.
That's understandable, but that leaves the commission with the predicament of what's going to happen to section 21 if nobody comes forth with a plan.
Yes, sir.
Do you know when you plan on spudding the wells in this application?
I don't want to say for certain. I would imagine fairly soon, just based on the development pattern, everything to the north of here and then everything to the south of here. I think that's something that we could probably apply for very soon in order to make this development pattern more cohesive.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Do you know who has the spacing unit on 4, 9, and 16 to the north?
I believe we do. Is that correct? Yes.
Is the well in section 16 and 21 a Kraken well?
Yes, it's operated by us. It
Yeah.
used to be Crescent Point.
Those are all the old Crescent Point wells. They're all operated by us now.
So just to clarify, the spacing unit 4, 9, and 16 is a Kraken approved spacing unit, and would you like that to be canceled?
Yes, sir.
You can proceed.
All right, Brian. Let's see. Let's look at your G1.
Yes, sir.
Have you described,
G1?
Yeah, describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing units.
Yes, sir. G1 is the structure map for this area based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation. Again, 50-foot contour interval showing dip generally to the southeast, and again shows the location of our type log.
Okay. And then looking at G2, can you describe that ISOPAC map for us?
Yes, sir. G2 is our ISOPAC for this same area. This is a 1-foot contour interval showing roughly 40 feet of Middle Bakken across the unit in question, and again shows the location of our type log.
Okay. And then on G3, can you describe what you're showing us on your type log?
Yes, sir. G3 is the type log for this area. It is the Wolverton number 1-4, and this is what we use as a representative log for the area.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right, Samuel, let's look at E1. Can you tell us how you propose to develop the 2560?
Exhibit E1 shows our proposed development diagram for the Keith South in-well units in sections 28, 33, 4, and 9. These will be batch drilled, and the pad location will be from the north in section 21, excuse me. So drilling north to south here.
Okay. And then Exhibit E2, how would you develop the lease line?
Exhibit E2 shows that Keith South Lease West well will be drilled on the lease line between sections 28, 29, 32, 33, 4, 5, and 8 and 9.
Off that same pad, part of that bench drill.
That's right, sir.
And then moving on to E3, how would you propose to drill and complete the wells?
Exhibit E3 shows the wellbore schematic for 20,000 foot laterals comprised of the 4 drill string design of a conductor, surface casing, intermediate casing, and production liner. As the previous wells that we showed, these will be plugged and perked and will have 167 foot per stage.
Okay. And then E4, can you take us through the reservoir data?
Exhibit E4 shows our reservoir properties. Middle Bakken thickness here is between 35 and 40 feet. Initial pressure between 5,800 psi. Porosity 8 to 9%. Water saturation 50 to 70%. With this 2560 acre spacing unit, we estimate a recovery factor of 3 to 4%. And similar to the other wells, 700,000 barrels of oil for recovery.
And then E5, is that essentially the same reservoir properties, just the different size spacing unit?
That's correct.
Okay. And then moving on to the economics, E6, can you summarize those for us?
Exhibit E6 shows our single well economics with the 700,000 barrels of oil for recovery, with initial investment of $12.2 million and running this at $60 oil and $80.25 gas. Yields an IRR of 33.24%, 3.41 net present value of 10%, and a 1.37 discounted return on investment with a payout shy of 3 years. Similar to the other, the previous docket, this is oil will be handled by Kraken Marketing, gas will be handled by ONEOK, and water will be handled by Hydro Services LLC.
Sure. And then E7, the economics be the same there for the lease line well?
That's correct.
Okay. And Samuel, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve the 2560 and then the 5120 for the lease line, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
That's correct.
Yeah, I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Samuel, if I missed it, I apologize, but is the target for these wells the Middle Bakken also?
Yes, sir. Middle Bakken as well.
Thank you.
Maybe I missed it, but when was the planned development date?
Planned on development for these will be first quarter of 27.
Thank you.
Concludes our hearing for case number 32203. Case number 32204. Application of Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Otter Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as section 16, 21, 28, and 33, Township 157 North, Range 101 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 2 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota. Bringing this case on behalf of Kraken Operating LLC, and it's the same 3 witnesses in this case.
And they're still under oath.
All right. And Justin, let's look at L1. Can you identify the area of this proposed spacing unit?
Yeah, sure. L1 is our regional locator map showing the Otter Bakken Pool highlighted in pink there with the proposed spacing in green there with section 16, 21, 28, 33, just south of that previous case there.
Sure. And then moving on to L2, can you identify this spacing unit and describe your working interest?
Sure. So Exhibit L2 is showing the 2,500 acre spacing unit with section 16, 21, 28, and 33 with Kraken with a 97.88% working interest. Highlighted in green up there is going to be the 2,560 acre with sections 16 and 21 with a working interest of 98.82% and sections 28 and 33 with a working interest of 96.94%.
I have no further questions for Mr. Payne. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Justin, the sections 4, 9, and 16 and 21, 28, 33 are stand up 1920s. I assume you want those terminated.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And help me out on exhibit L2. Your, for instance, in sections 16 and 21, your working interest is 98.82%. And your allocation is 49.41%.
Sure. So that for section 16 and 21, we're running 98%, almost 100% working interest. The allocation factor is just 50% there. These have the existing Larson units in 16, 21, and 28, 33. So we ran the allocation just 50%, showing 16 and 21 with 50%, and 28 and 33 with the other 50%, essentially.
So that allocation has nothing to do with 16 and 21. It's in the 2560.
It's just that would be for the 2560 below 97.88%, essentially. 16 and 21, take up the northern half, and then 28 and 33 for the southern half. They're all kind of equaled out just based on the previous. There's no overlap with 16 and 21 and 28 and 33 with the existing well bores there.
Yeah, but to be clear, the allocation that is shown there is for the 2560, not the 1280.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
All right, Brian, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this spacing unit?
Yes, sir. Again, G1 is our structure map for this area based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation. Again, 50-foot contour interval showing dip a little more to the southeast. And it also shows the location of our type log.
Okay. And then G2, take us through your ISOPAC.
G2 is the ISOPAC for the same area. 1 foot contour interval in this case, roughly 40 feet of Middle Bakken across the units in question. And again, our type log is pointed out.
Okay. And then G3, that type log, that same from the last case, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right, Samuel, let's look at E1. Can you describe for us how you would intend to develop the spacing unit?
Yeah. The exhibit E1 shows the proposed development diagram for the Larson wells. These are the 2 in unit outlined in green, comprising sections 16, 21, 28, and 33. We plan to drill these from the south in section 1 there at the south, and estimated spud date first quarter of 27 for these.
Okay. Then looking at E2, how would you propose to drill and complete the wells?
Exhibit E2 shows our lateral wellbore schematic, again showing our 4 drill string design with our conductor, surface casing, intermediate casing, and production liner. We'll be doing a plug and perf on these and leaving 167 foot per stage.
Okay. Moving on to E3, can you summarize the reservoir data for us?
Exhibit E3 shows some of the reservoir data properties here with the Middle Bakken thickness around 35 to 40 feet, initial reservoir pressure 5,800 psi, porosity 8 to 9%, and water saturation 50 to 70%. These are spaced at 2560. Similar to the other wells, these are estimated at 700,000 barrels of oil, which is a 3 to 4% oil recovery factor.
Okay. And then moving on to E4, what would the economics look like for these wells?
Exhibit E4 shows a single well economics with that 700,000 barrels of oil equivalent. We ran a $12.2 million investment on these, and with a $60 oil and $3.25 gas, we yielded 33%, and net present value 10% of $3.41 million. Discounted return on investment here is 1.37, and the discounted payout is 2.77 years. Same with the other wells. This oil will be handled by Kraken Marketing. Gas will be handled by One Oak, and water will be serviced by Hydro Services LLC.
And Samuel, if the commission were to approve the 2560 to allow for these longer laterals, would that prevent waste, protect railroad rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Samuel, again, if I missed it, I apologize, but what's the target for these laterals?
These are Middle Bakken wells also.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes our hearing for case number 32204. Case number 32205. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Dimmick Lake, Bakken Pool, Mackenzie County, North Dakota to grant relief from those portions of order number 34294 and any other applicable orders which require the number of wells in each 1280 within the stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as section 6, 7, 18, and 19, Township 151 North, Range 96 West, shall ultimately be equal in no longer than a 12-month period, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota. Appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP. I have three witnesses in this case. It will be Ashley Hansen, Sarah Beth Donaldson, and Gabby Jacoby. And Mr. Examiner, just a little bit of context on this one. There's a case in March where Burlington Resources showed some development. The order was issued in that case in September, and that's the most recent order that has that, I'll call it like a balancing requirement. These are the kind of the standard 2560s where you've got 2 mile laterals, going north and south, and it contains that balancing requirement. But due to existing development on these spacing units as well as the surrounding spacing units, Burlington Resources has determined that it's sort of necessary and appropriate in this case to have 5 wells, I believe, in the northernmost 2560, and then 6 in the southern. And as they'll demonstrate with their exhibits and testimony, that will result in a more efficient and economic development plan. It will eliminate the requirement of an unnecessary well, but it will also protect the railroad rights of all the owners. And like I said, that will be shown kind of through the testimony and exhibits.
Ms. Hanson,
Yes,
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Ashley, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Ashley Hansen. I'm a staff land negotiator employed by ConocoPhillips Company. I reside at address 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
And Ashley, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the line matters associated with this spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
All right, I move the testimony of Ms. Hansen be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Ashley, if you can just look at L1, can you identify the stand-up 2560 where we're seeking the relief from that balancing requirement?
Yes, so depicted on the map is our overlapping stand-up 2560 acre, what we call our Clemens Dimmick Lake DSU. It's comprised of township 151 North, range 96 West, sections 6, 7, 18, and 19.
Okay. And then looking at L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Our working interest is for Burlington, 48.23%. Continental Resources is 44.66%. Northern Oil and Gas is 3.79%. Incline Bakken is 3.3%, and the estate of Helen Brainbold is 0.01%.
I have no further questions for Ms. Hanson. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Ms. Donaldson?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Sarah Beth, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sarah Beth Donaldson, a geologist at ConocoPhillips Company, located at 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas, 77079.
And Sarah Beth, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the geology matters associated with this spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Donaldson be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Sarah Beth, starting with G1, can you just describe the structure underlying this 2560?
Depicted in G1 is the Upper Bakken Shale structure map with a contour interval of 25 feet. The existing 2560 acre spacing unit is shown in the red dashed polygon, which has an average depth of less than half a degree. The white stars are type log shown in Exhibit G2.
Okay. Then let's look at G2. What are you showing us on your type log there?
G2 shows a type log identified in G1 that shows our primary target interval for the area. The Middle Bakken, Three Forks first bench, and the Three Forks second bench. The Middle Bakken and Three Forks first and second bench thicknesses are consistent across the unit.
Okay. And then let's move on then to G3. And Sarah Beth, we can just have you describe what your development plans are, but also kind of explain, why we've got, I guess, the unbalanced on the 21280s.
Depicted in G3 is our full plan of development for the existing 2560 spacing unit shown by the thick dashed lines. The thin dashed lines show our plans wells to be drilled off of the two pads that are on different spacing units. The western pad has been built just north of the existing Clemens 24-7H pad and is comprised of 6 wells, 3 Middle Bakken and 3 Three Forks, with an average interval spacing of 675 feet. These wells will be batch drilled and zipper frac with an estimate spud date in Q3 of 2026. The eastern pad has been built just east of the existing Clemens 24-7H pad. Will have facilities on site and is comprised of 9 wells, 4 Middle Bakkens, and 5 Three Forks, alternating between the first and second bench, with an average interval spacing of 680 feet. These wells will be batch drilled and zipper fracked with an estimate spud date also in Q3 of 2026. The labeled parent wells and planned dash wells are going to be shown in Exhibit G4. Burlington Resources first proposed the stand-up 2560 of Sections 6, 7, 18, and 19 in December of 2018 as part of Order 29613. As time progressed, our understanding of the reservoir and impacts to depletion greatly increased through our analysis of data and trials. Therefore, in March 2025, we proposed terminating a single well overlapping 2560 and 151 North, 97 West, Sections 13 and 24, and 151 North, 96 West, Sections 8 and 19, and drill 2 reduced setback wells spaced at 350 feet off the section line as part of Order 34294. The reduced setback spacing allowing for increased well spacing off of Continental's Sturtrolling 1-13T well, which was refracked in 2022, while maintaining our preferred interval spacing for the unit. However, while doing so, the 2 reduced setback wells are now considered on-unit wells, causing the southern 1280, sections 18 and 19, to have 1 additional planned well versus the northern 1280, sections 6 and 7. Due to the placement of the parent wells and a preferred equal spacing between similar parents, warranted us to maintain a single well 2560 and 151 North, 97 West, sections 1 and 2 and 12, and 151 north, 96 west, section 6 and 7.
Okay. Let's move on then to G4, call it the I guess gun barrel view, and can you take us through that exhibit and your interwell distances?
G4 is an additional exhibit showing our plan of development for the unit as a gun barrel. It shows each producing existing well in solid black, the stand-up 2560 wells in dashed red, and the dashed blue wells are off-unit wells that are part of the same drill events. Also shown are the 250 and 500 foot section line and reduced setback corridors in varying shades of gray, just to designate the well type near each section line. Within the 2560, you can see our preferred well count in the northern 1280, section 6 and 7 is 5 wells, and the southern 1280, sections 18 and 19 is 6 wells. The existing parents on the stand-up 2560 are part of their individual overlapping 1280 spacing units. And then barrel shows our planned target formations with their well spacing for each well, showing an average of 675 across the entire DSU.
Okay. I have no further questions for Ms. Donaldson. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Sarah, I have a couple of questions on the gun barrel exhibit G4. Is the one in the labeled MTFS at the bottom, is that second bench or a first bench well?
At Burlington, ConocoPhillips, we designate that as a second bench, but on this entire DSU, we are not drilling any wells within the zone.
Okay.
It's also referred to as the chocolate dolomite.
So Sarah Beth, the 6, 7, 18, and 19 are currently a stand-up 2560 that's not been drilled. And you want an odd number of wells north and south.
That's correct. The reasoning behind it is mainly driven by the aspirants drilled that are existing on the northern half space between the Maverick 4412H and the Clemens 24-7H. That is about 2,600 feet interval spacing, and just due to the similar completions and total production on both of those wells, we thought maintaining equal spacing was most optimal for the pad. Therefore, we kept the single well 2560 as the unit line. But whenever we looked further south, just due to the distances between the two existing, the Zartrillen 1-13 team, which Continental did refrac in 2022, was a high performer. We felt that it was more optimistic to upspace that well interspacing. So we do have our next distance at 816 feet. We deemed that that was most profitable for the DSU. And so as a result, we decided to terminate the existing overlapping 2560, which originally was a unit line well, to do 2 reduced setback wells at 350 foot spacing, just so we can keep that 650 to 700 foot interval spacing across the entire DSU, just for optimal development in the area. So since it switched to reduced setback, staying within that 250 to 500 foot corridor off the section line, they are equal spaced at 350 feet. Because of that, they are considered on unit. And so the southern half now has 1 additional well versus the north.
So if Burlington wants to drill an odd number of wells north versus south, why don't you just drill them on 1280s then?
That might be considered. Ultimately, this was deemed the most economic because we do have federal tracks within this 2560 stand-up. So the entire 2560, we're going to have a federal facility in place. The western wells that are part of this western pad are going to flow to the Maverick Search Drilling 2560 stand-up that is considered non-federal. So keeping them separate allowed us for more optimal and more economic facility design.
So to make sure I follow, so is Berthium proposing one facility for this 2560?
Yes, there is.
And
A single facility located on the eastern pad of the Clemens 24-7H.
and where are the federal tracks?
It is in the middle of section 18. It crosses the second bench, Middle Bakken, and reports. I don't have it designated on the exhibit shown in G3, but they're in the middle of section 18.
So Wade, I would ask that location, that federal acreage be submitted.
Okay, we can add that. On the reservoir engineering exhibits, Gabby will go through the economics shown just to show our reasoning behind the differential well counts, north versus south.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah Beth, I have one extra question. I think I found a typo, and I just want to make sure it's not in the docket. But you call Clemens Demicks Lake the 25-acre spacing unit on G3. It's spelled Demicks, and in the docket it's spelled with an I. Do you know which one's correct? That's a big controversy. Yeah, well.
I will speak to my understanding. Our wells are labeled Demicks Lake, DEMICKS. And so that's kind of how our ArcGIS layers maintain the unit layers. From a NDIC standpoint, I may refer to Ashley Hansen to see exactly like what is written as per the 2560 stand-up.
Okay.
I mean, I'm aware of it being DEM all through our records as well.
Okay.
Maybe Wade, we can
I think
circle up and get confirmation on the exact spelling, and we can update these exhibits.
I think
If
everything's
necessary.
correct. I mean, we can double check, but I think, the name of the pool in the field is, I think, DIMMICK. But, if you look, like on maps, I think, yeah, like if there's like a Demicks Lake and it's spelled with an E. So, yeah. So I think, long story short, I think everything's correct on here, but we can confirm.
Okay. No, I would agree. There's no need to confirm. It's just Dimmick Lake Field was established many, many years ago, whenever that was, and it was spelled the way it is, and the local lake is spelled different, and it's just,
Right.
it is what it is.
Right. Perfect. Thank you.
Ms. Jacoby,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
Gabby, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Gabrielle Jacoby. I'm employed by ConocoPhillips Company as a reservoir engineer located at 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
And have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes,
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
yes,
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with this spacing unit?
yes,
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Jacoby be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And then, Gabby, looking at E1, how would you propose to drill and complete these wells?
Yes, this is a visual representation of our proposed wellbore schematic. It will have a 13 3/8 inch surface casing set at approximately 4,500 feet measured depth, followed by a 9 5/8 intermediate casing, a 7-inch production casing, and a 4.5 inch cemented liner with a large completion of approximately 50 stages.
Okay. And then moving on to E2, can you kind of walk us through that reservoir data slide and just kind of explain, even though it's unbalanced, that you're going to have sort of similar recoveries with this development?
Yes, with this exhibit, we wanted to illustrate that despite the unbalanced existing well count, which you can see in the bottom table, that it will have a similar oil recovery in both the section 6 and 7 versus the 18 and 19. So on the bottom table in the future well count row, you can see there's 2 middle Bakken, 2 first bench, and 1 second bench, 3 forks. And then in 18 and 19, there's 2 middle Bakken, 2 3 forks first bench, and 2 3 forks second bench. However, in the last 3 lines of the table above, you can see in the existing section 6 and 7, will be existing 384,000 barrels for the parent well, followed by 3,658,000 barrels for the new wells, and that will result in about a 13.6% recovery. Whereas in the sections 18 and 19, we estimate about a 280,000 barrel recovery for the parent well and a 3,830,000 barrel recovery for the new wells, which results in about a 13.8% recovery. So despite the different well counts, the recovery will be about the same, and it will prevent the unnecessary drilling of a new well to avoid that economic challenge.
Sure. So if you were required to have like a balance and put another well in 6 and 7, in your opinion, that'd be an unnecessary well?
Yes.
And that would essentially result in economic waste?
Correct.
Okay. In your opinion, if the commission were to approve, this relief and allow you to have this development on the stand-up 2560 with sort of the unbalanced 1280s, in your opinion, that would still protect the correlative rights of all the owners, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. That offer the engineering exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Gabrielle, the 2 existing wells, are they? I guess I can look. They're both middle Bakken wells.
Yes, I believe so. Mm-hmm. Yes. On the first line of the bottom table, you can see the existing well count. There's 1 middle Bakken in each.
So why the difference in their ultimate primary recovery?
These wells are mature wells, and they have quite a lot of existing decline data. So when I used decline curve analysis, the Clemens Demix one is producing slightly better, so it has a slightly higher EUR.
Well, I don't know if I would characterize a 33% difference as slightly better, but do you know why they're performing differently?
I don't have a specific petrophysical reason, but since these are older wells, it may be operational, but I don't have that. I don't have any specific completions data that would suggest that one well is differential to the other, but they have more than 10 years of production data, so they both have an established decline trend. And the Clemens in the section 6 and 7 parent well has a much shallower decline trend, so it's been producing at a much steadier rate than the other parafoil in sections 18 and 19.
Do you know if were they drilled and completed by Burlington or someone else?
They were by Burlington, yes.
And do you know if their completions were similar or not?
Yes, I believe one completion is about 200 pounds per foot, and the other is about 190. I believe. Let me cross-reference some of my notes. Yeah, the Demix Lake is 260 and the Clemens Demix is 200.
And were the number of stages equal or not?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Do you know if the number of stages were equal?
I don't have that data on such an old well. Our completions data is not as granular for wells from 2008.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, is October 29th long enough to submit that supplement?
Yeah, Ashley, that shouldn't be a problem. A week to get that map identifying the location of the federal tract.
Yes, I can definitely provide the supplemental affidavit, but I did want to also mention I did locate the tracts exact location. So in section 18, the federal tracts are in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter and also the southwest quarter of the southeast quarter. So it's essentially in the south half of section 18. But I will also provide an exhibit showing that as well.
Do you still want supplement? Yep.
Well, I think so, because to me the testimony conflicts, because the south half would be not just the southeast of the southwest and the southwest of the southeast. So to make the record clear, I think it should be submitted.
That's fine.
Sure.
Okay, the record will remain open in this case until October 29th. That concludes our hearing for case number 32205. At this time, we'll take a 10-minute break. We are back on the record. I'll call case number 32206. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bull Moose and or South Bull Moose Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 16, 21, 28, and 33, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP. 3 witnesses in this case: Mark Selby, Brenton Chesnick, and Will Carlisle.
Mr. Salvi,
Yes.
you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief.
I do.
Mark, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Mark Salvi. I'm a staff land negotiator for ConocoPhillips Company, and our address is 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
And Mark, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing units today?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Selby be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Mark, let's look at your first exhibit L1. Can you identify the requested spacing unit?
Yes, this is a locator map showing the proposed 2560 acre spacing unit comprising of section 16, 21, 28, and 33 of Township 147 North, Range 101 West. And the existing well in the 16 and 21 is the Red Wing 16-1H, and that's operated by Burlington.
Okay. And then moving on to L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Yeah, so ConocoPhillips company working interest is approximately 71%. There's approximately 9.4% unleased federal acreage, and other working interest owners combined make up the additional 19.7% working interest.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
If the unleased, would the federal unleased tract prevent Conoco from developing this unit?
Currently, yes. There's unleased BLM acreage in the south half of 33 that was previously leased but needs to be renominated. And there's also additional unleased acreage in the east half of section 28 that was previously nominated but is currently listed as unavailable to lease. We will have conversations with the BLM when we get closer to, in the future to discuss the status of that.
So Conoco plans to nominate these parcels for lease?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chetnick,
Yep, good morning.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do, yes.
Brenton, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yeah, Brenton Chetnick, geologist with ConocoPhillips. Business address is 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
And Brenton, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have, yes.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And you're familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Chetnick be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Brenton, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying the spacing unit?
Yeah, G1 shows a structure map on the top of the Upper Bakken Shale, and then it also shows the proposed 2560 spacing unit. In the north half, I've highlighted the type log that you'll see on the next slide, and then on this and subsequent exhibits that we show for future cases, I've also, where appropriate, highlighted the with the dash line, this outer Red Wing impact site. This is something that we discussed with the commission back in August for some other cases in the area. Just highlighting that from publicly available information, this structure map might not capture all the associated underlying structure. ConocoPhillips does not have access to the Red Wing seismic data set that True Oil has. That's a proprietary data set of theirs, but I wanted to highlight that on this map just to show that these units are outside of that potential structural zone.
Sure. Let's look then at next exhibit G2 and what you're showing on the type log.
Yeah, so this is Burlington's pilot hole in the area, the Red Wing 16-1H, and I'm showing the gamma ray curve for the area, highlighting the Middle Bakken as the primary target interval, and then also highlighting the different seventh pools 50 foot above the Bakken formation, and then in this part of the field, 50 feet below the top of the three works.
Okay. And then G3, how would you intend to develop the spacing unit?
Yeah, so the current plan would be to have 4 wells evenly spaced through these 2560s.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Going back to the land slides, where are the federal tracks in there?
Yeah, as I mentioned, there's unleased BLM acreage in the south half of section 33, and in the basically the east half of section 28.
Okay, and were those previously nominated and approved by the BLM, to your knowledge?
The tracks in section 33 were previously leased, but those expired and need to be renominated. And the tracks in 28 have been nominated, but are not on a sale.
Okay, what tract is, I think you called it not available for leasing?
Those are the tracks in section 28.
Okay, thank you.
So Brenton, on the exhibit G1, on our copy that we received that will be scanned in, we cannot see with any ease the outer Red Wing impact ring. Could you submit the slide as a digital slide so we can put that in our file?
Oh, sure. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Carlisle,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Will, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Will Carlisle. I'm a reservoir engineer at ConocoPhillips. My business address is 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
And Will, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Carlisle be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
Well, let's start with E1. How would you drill and complete the proposed wells?
Yeah, so what you're looking at here at this exhibit is a 20K wellbore schematic. We would anticipate to be able to drill these wells with a 3-string casing design, in which they will be completed with a 4-mile long, 4.5-inch cemented liner. Completions would be a large refrac with approximately 100 stages.
Okay. Then let's move on to E2. Can you summarize your reservoir data you have here?
Yeah, so we're looking at reservoir and fluid data for our 2560 unit. We approximate net thickness around 30 feet with some pretty common, I guess, petrophysical data or characteristics. But really draw your attention down towards the bottom portion where we're talking about total oil in place in the unit being around 11 million barrels. We expect primary oil recovery per well to be around 400 or 646,000 barrels of oil, which would equate to oil recovery factor per well of around 6%.
Okay. And then moving on to E3, can you take us through your economics?
Yeah, so this is a 20K well economics. We would anticipate to be able to execute these wells between 10 and $11 million, with the oil recovery previously stated and a flat realized price of $60 per barrel, generate a positive rate of return for all working interest parties.
Okay. And Will, in your opinion, if this spacing is established to allow for that development, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions at all for the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Will, what's your anticipated spud date?
That's still to be determined, as Mark previously mentioned. The unleased federal acreage prevents us from being able to actively schedule this, but as that progresses, we would be able to fit this in with our current development program.
In sections 16 and 17, you have a current wellbore producing there. Are you intending to keep that well as an active well, or are you going to plug and abandon that well?
We would likely try to keep that well producing, barring no significant wellbore impacts from the offset development, but that's a decision that we would anticipate to make after completion of the new wells.
Are you anticipating any changes or completion stages being reduced due to the closeness of that wellbore?
No, the original wellbore is very, very understimulated, at least compared to relative modern completions. So we would not alter the new wellbore's completion design, as in proppant intensity or fluid intensity, because of the existing completion in the ground.
I'm sure it's not totally determined yet, but last, do you know how close that you will be paralleling that existing well with your proposed Middle Bakken lateral?
I do not know the exact footages offhand right now.
Conoco doesn't have any concern about anti-collision, though?
No, we would ensure that we do not have any anti-collision concerns. Where these well stinks are currently placed would be more tuned to prevent that in nature as we get closer to execution.
Okay, thank you.
It is October 29th, long enough to submit that exhibit.
Let's see. Yeah, that's right. You just need the digital geology exhibit.
Yeah, whatever Mark asked for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep, that should be fine.
The record will remain open in this case until October 29th. Concludes our hearing for case number 32206. Case number 32207, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bull Moose and or Flat Top Butte Bakken pools to establish two overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing units described as sections 26 and 35, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, and sections 2 and 11, Township 146 North, Range 101 West, and section 36, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, and sections 112 and 13, Township 146 North, Range 101 West, McKenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP. And I have the same 3 witnesses testifying in this case.
And they're still under oath.
Okay. And Mark, let's look at L1. Can you identify the 2 requested spacing units?
Yes, the first proposed 2560 acre unit is comprised of sections 26 and 35 of 147-101 and sections 2 and 11 of 146-101. And the second DSU is comprised of section 36 and 147-101 and sections 1, 2, and 13 and 146-101.
And then moving to L2, what's your working interest in each of those spacing units?
Yes, so the first proposed DSU, ConocoPhillips has a 50% working interest. There's approximately 49.2% unleased federal, and other owners comprise the other 0.76% working interest. And the second DSU, ConocoPhillips has a 62.5% working interest. There's 12.5% unleased federal, and other working interest owners comprise 25%.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Similar to the last case, if these unleased federal tracts were unable to be leased, would that prevent the development of these units for Conoco?
Yes, it would.
Have you guys nominated those tracts yet?
We have not yet. Section 2 of the first DSU was previously leased but need to be renominated. Same with section 26 of the first DSU. Everything in that unit is unleased fed except the riverbed acreage, which is leased.
Do you know if that tract in section 2 was canceled, or was did it expire?
It expired.
Okay. Thank you.
Mark, first question, and if you can answer it, is why the staggering between the two stand-up 2560s?
Yeah, so it has to do primarily with the existing production to the north. We're working with True Oil, who operates or plans to operate 2 and 11. So yeah, we're working with them to try to determine proper spacing to the north there, but it has mostly to do with existing production.
So you'll have to help me out here. Existing production to the north?
Yes, so True Oil drilled a well in 2 and 11 of 147-101. That well had issues. They only completed through section 2, but they have they've indicated they have plans to drill additional wells in 2 and 11. That DSU that is comprised of 11 11, 14, and 23 was previously on case 32209, but it was removed due to ongoing conversations with True Oil. And then for the eastern DSU here, the 1920 directly north of this is on our case 32209, which we'll hear later this morning.
Then so section 20 on then on the south end, sections 13 and 24 are currently a stand-up 1,208 acre space unit that has not been developed. If this application is approved, what's going to happen to, it's going to split that 1280 in half, what's going to happen to section 24?
Yeah, so there's no current horizontal production there, so you can develop the units to the south either as 1280s, 1920s, or 2560s, depending on viable surface locations.
So it would be appropriate for the commission just to terminate 13 and 24, and also the one to the south, 25 and 36. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
All right, Brenton, let's look at G3. Can you describe the structure underlying these spacing units?
Yep, this is the same structure map that we saw in the previous exhibit. Structures dipping off into the northeast, and you can see the type log that we're going to have on the next exhibit is just the southwest of these two proposed 2560s.
Okay, and then can you describe for us on G2 what you're looking at on your type log?
So the type log is again of this gamma ray curve of the flat top butte well. I'm calling out the top of the Bakken Severance Pool. And just highlighting the fact that it's 200 feet above the top of the Bakken Formation, and the base of the Bakken Pool is 50 feet below the top of the Three Forks Bench 1. And I realize the copy that you all have has the Middle Bakken target placed in the wrong location. We'll send an updated version of that. The Middle Bakken target should be between the top of the Middle Bakken and the Lower Bakken Shale.
Okay, and then moving on to G3, then how would you propose to develop each of these spacing units?
Yeah, so again, you're seeing four proposed 4-mile laterals evenly spaced across the units with no unit line wells. And then we have notional pad locations. We've done no surface work out here. You can see from the base map, it's very topographically challenged from the Badlands topography. So we anticipate relatively long lead times, but we just wanted to highlight that those are kind of the notional places that we're looking.
Sure. And I don't have any further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Is this anywhere around the Red Wing impact crater?
It's to the south and east, so that's why that same polygon that I had on the previous one is not shown here at this scale. It's this area is unimpacted by.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
You can proceed.
Okay. Will, E1, how would you drill and complete these?
Yeah, so we're looking at a similar 20K wellbore schematic, again, with the anticipation of a 3-string well design. We would complete the well with a 4-mile, 4.5-inch cemented liner with approximately 100 stage completion landed in the Middle Bakken.
Okay. And then moving on, the reservoir data, E2, can you summarize that?
Yeah, so we're looking at similar reservoir and fluid data as the previous exhibits. We would anticipate each well to recover about 400 or 646 barrels of oil equivalent, with an anticipated recovery factor per well of approaching 6%.
Okay. And then E3, what do the economics look like?
Yeah, so on the economic summary, we expect these wells to be drilled and completed for between $10 and $11 million per well. At conservative prices and discount factors, these economics show that you would generate a positive rate of return and a positive NPV for all working interest parties.
And Will, in your opinion, would establishment of these two spacing units prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I do believe so.
Okay. I have no further questions. And for the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Wait, did you say you need to keep the record open to resubmit an exhibit G2?
I think Brenton mentioned on his would be the type log that the Middle Bakken, the star reflecting the location of the target is in the wrong location. So, yeah.
So you want to keep the record open until 29th? Is that fine?
Sure. Yep.
The record will remain open in this case until October 29th. That concludes our hearing for case number 32207. Case number 32208. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the bull moose and/or flat top butte Bonkin pools, Kenzie County, North Dakota, to 1. Establish an overlapping stand-up 1920 acre spacing unit described as sections 15, 22, and 27, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit. 2. Establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as section 34, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, and sections 3, 10, and 15, Township 146 North, Range 101 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit. Or 3. Granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, and same 3 witnesses will testify on this one.
And they're still under oath.
Okay. And Mark, can you go ahead and look at L1 and identify the 2 requested spacing units here?
Yes, the first 1920 acre proposed spacing unit is comprised of sections 15, 22, and 27 of 147-101. And the second DSU is a 2560 comprising of 34 Township 147 North, Range 101 West. And then in addition to that, sections 3, 10, and 15 of 146-101. And the existing KIT 11-15H 1522-147-101 MB well is operated by Petro Hunt in sections 15 and 22.
Okay. Looking at L2, what's your working interest in each of these spacing units?
Yeah, so Conoco's working interest in the proposed 1920 acre DSU is 50.81%, and other working interest owners comprise the other 49.19%. In the second 2560 acre DSU, we have approximately 61% working interest. There's 25% unleased federal, and then 14% owned by other companies.
Okay. And will you work with the other working interest owners with respect to operatorship?
Yes, that's correct. We previously sent our development plans to Petro Hunt earlier this month and agreed to coordinate with them regarding operatorship closer to development.
Sure. I have no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Mark, so to the south, sections 15 and 22 are a stand-up 1280. And if this application is approved, that spacing would be split in 2. What's going to happen?
That's correct.
What's going to happen with section 22?
Yeah, so section 22, I believe could be, I need to confirm, I believe could be developed as either a 1280, 1920, or 2560. I can confirm that and send a supplemental exhibit if you need me to.
Yeah, that would be helpful. And then, so that begs the question: why not 2 stand-up 2560s and take in section 22?
We can look into that. I think it may have something to do with surface considerations in 34, but I can confirm that if you need us to.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
The federal tracks that are in the requested 2560, if you're unable to lease those, would that prevent you guys from Conoco from developing these units, or just that particular requested 2560?
Just the 2560. There's unleased tracks in the east half of section 34 and the south half of section 10.
And have those been nominated yet?
The tract in section 10 has been nominated, not on an upcoming sale yet. And then the tract in section 34 needs to be nominated with the BLM.
What's the typical timeline from the time you guys nominate to the time a tract is approved or denied for lease? What's that timeline?
Recently, we're seeing between 6 to 9 months, depending on their NEPA evaluations.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
All right, Brenton, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure here?
Yep, so same structure map as the previous two exhibits. You can see the dashed one represents that outer deformation ring of the Red Wing impact site, and everything's kind of dipping gently off to the northeast. And then the type log is just to the east of the 1920.
Okay. And then that G2, what are you showing on that type log?
Correct. So this is the type log highlighted on the previous structure map, and highlighting the top of the Bakken seven spool 200 feet above the top of the Bakken, base of the Bakken seven spool 50 feet below the top of the Three Forks bench one, and then the middle Bakken target is shown correctly on this exhibit.
Sure. And then looking at G3, what would the development of these spacing units look like?
Yes, so initially we would have 4 wells evenly spaced in each of the units. And, I've shown some conceptual pad locations here. We still need to do a lot more surface work out here because of the topography associated with the Little Missouri River.
Okay. I have no further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
They're admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Okay. Well, looking at G1, how would you drill and complete the wells on the 1920?
Yeah, so I actually have 2 different wellbore schematics. I have an E1.1 and 1.2, one for the 15K wellbore, which is shown on the screen. Similar as the previous well designs, 3-string well design, except the 3-mile cemented liner in this case would be completed with approximately 75 stages.
Sure.
On the next exhibit, you'll see the only difference being the number of stages increase proportional with the increased lateral length, being this 20K wellbore schematic.
Okay. And then looking at E2.1, what's the reservoir data for the 1920 look like?
Yeah, so we're showing, in general, very similar reservoir petrophysical data. This data sheet is specifically tied to 15K well production and recovery. So we do expect the 15K well bores to produce approximately 510,000 barrels of oil, which would equate to a 6% recovery factor per well.
Okay. And then E2.2, any distinctions as you move to the south in that 2560?
No, the only distinction being the difference in increased lateral length. So oil recovery per well increases from the 510 to the 646. But that still equates to a very similar estimated oil recovery factor, approximately 6%.
Sure. And then on E3.1, what do the economics look like for the 1920?
Yeah, so we would anticipate these 3-mile laterals to be drilled and completed for between $9 and $10 million. These would generate a positive rate of return and attractive investment for all working interest parties.
And then 3.2, the economics on for the 4-mile laterals?
Yeah, so these differ from the previous in that cost is scaled up for that 4th mile, in addition to the oil recovery increasing, which still, at the end of the day, generate very similar returns for all working interest parties as the previous exhibit.
Okay. And again, Will, if the commission approves these spacing units, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells? Didn't catch that, Will.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. I offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plant affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Wait, is October 29th again good for?
Yeah.
Okay. The record will remain open in this case until October 29th. We'll hearing for case number 32208. Case number 32209. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for bull moose and or bowline Bakken pools to establish two overlapping stand-up 19-20 acre spacing units described as sections 11, 14, and 23, sections 13, 24, and 25, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled in each such unit, or grant such other relief as may be appropriate. I will note that the request for the 19-20 acre space unit consisting of sections 11, 14, and 23, Township 147 North, Range 101 West, has been withdrawn. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP, and it's the same 3 witnesses again.
Mr. Stonedorf.
Okay. And Mark, looking at L1, can you identify that you requested 1920?
Yes, the proposed 1920 is comprised of sections 13, 24, and 23 in 147 North, Range 101 West.
And then L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Yeah, Conoco's working interest is approximately 66.5%. There's approximately 2.47% of unleased federal acreage, and then other working interest owners comprise 31% interest.
Okay. And I have no further questions on off the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right, Brenton. Can you take us through the structure underlying this spacing unit with G1?
Table G1, you can see a structure map showing taken on the top of the Upper Bakken Shale. Our type log on the next exhibit is just to the west of the proposed 1920. That'll highlight at this scale. I've highlighted both the inner and outer red wing impact sites, and you can see our proposed unit sits outside of the structural complex area.
Okay, and then can you take us through that type log on G2?
Get the type log on G2 is using the gamma ray curve, and it's highlighting the top of the Bakken Severance Pool in this part of the field being 50 feet above the top of the Bakken, and the base being 50 feet below the top of the Three Forks, and our primary target being the Middle Bakken Formation.
Okay, and then moving on to G3, what would your proposed development look like?
So proposed 4 wells, evenly spaced, drilled north to south, and again, we have a conceptual pad location shown there, similar to the other exhibits and cases that we've discussed. The topography is going to require us to do a lot more work to solidify our pad location.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Brent, just kind of a general question. Well, first of all, could you submit G1 digitally so we can see the rings on that exhibit?
Yep.
And then, you know, in case 32207, Burlington has a proposed stand-up 2560 to the south of this proposed 1920. Does Burlington look at combining surface facilities for those 2 space units, or is the federal acreage an issue that prevents that?
We haven't got into the facility design for these, so I can't really speak to that at this stage of our planning process. But that's certainly something that we would consider as we get closer and do more detailed planning.
But does the presence of the federal minerals inhibit that design if you were to desire to combine them?
unleased federal acreage is in the like northeast of the river in section 25. Sure if that would impact surface locations.
Well, it may not impact the surface location, but does it impact your surface facility design?
In terms of there being the presence of federal minerals.
Yes.
So what I can say is we're currently evaluating some of the new laws that are being put into place in terms of our ability to commingle federal minerals with other non-federal interests, but that is still yet to be codified into law, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Similar to the question in the previous cases, I believe it was testified that there was 2.47% unleased federal, and if that was unable to be leased, would that prevent the development of this unit?
Not entirely. It would prevent the easternmost well being drilled, but the other three could be developed.
Thank you.
You can proceed.
All right. Will, E1, I think this similar to the previous cases, how you drill and complete the wells on this spacing unit?
Yeah, this is the same 15K wellbore schematic as shown on the previous exhibit. 3-string well design, 4.5 inch Snips liner, and 75 stage completion.
And then E2, you summarize that reservoir data.
Yeah, so similar net thickness 30 feet. We expect each individual well to recover just north of 500,000 barrels of oil, which would equate to a estimated recovery factor of 6% per well.
Okay. And then E3, what do the economics look like here?
Yeah, similar 15K economics as prior exhibit, $9 to $10 million estimated well cost. With the previously stated oil recovery, we feel like this is a viable and profitable investment opportunity for all working interest parties.
Okay. And Will, again, in your opinion, if this gets established, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I do believe so.
Okay. No further questions. That offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Wade, once again, October 29th, good enough?
Yep.
This record will remain open until October 29th. That concludes our hearing for case number 32209. Case number 31982. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bennett Creek and/or Ranch Creek Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 26 and 35, Township 147 North, Range 99 West, and sections 2 and 11, Township 146 North, Range 99 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. Concludes our hearing for case number 31982. Case number 32120. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, for an order amending the applicable orders for the Boxcar Butte and/or South Boxcar Butte Bakken pools to establish an overlapping laydown 1280 acre spacing unit described as sections 21 and 22, Township 148 North, Range 102 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, and it will be the same 3 witnesses in this case.
They're still under oath.
All right. Mark, can I have you look at L1 and identify the requested spacing unit here?
Yes, proposed 1280 consists of sections 21 and 22 of Township 148 North, Range 102 West.
Okay. And then moving on to L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Currently, Conoco's working interest is 25% in this proposed 1280, and then the remainder is unleased federal acreage that has all been nominated in December of 2024.
Okay. I have no further questions on after the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
So I think you just said the unleased federal was nominated in December of 2024. Was that correct?
Correct.
And have you guys received approval for that yet?
It is not an upcoming sale. It was not nominated by Conoco or Burlington, so we are not in direct communication with the BLM on those tracks.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
All right, Brent, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this spacing unit?
Yeah, structure is very simple in this part of the basin, almost flat, and then the east, it starts dipping off to the northeast, and you can see the type log highlighted in the southeast corner of section 22 for the next exhibit.
All right, let's move on to that G2, the type log. Take us through that exhibit.
Similar type log on this federal caboose 122, and I'm just highlighting the top of the severance pool here is 50 feet above the top of the Bakken target, and then the base of the Bakken severance pool is defined at 50 feet below the top of the Three Forks formation.
Okay, and then moving on to G3, if you could just describe how you would intend to develop the spacing unit and kind of how it fits with your proposed development plans in the surrounding area.
Yep, so I'll just highlight, in August, we presented cases for the units, the 4 and 3 mile units that are kind of shown in those purple polygons and that associated long lateral development to the south. And we had discussions with the commission around what was going to happen in sections 21 and 22. And so you can see this proposed 2 mile unit there kind of avoids any stranded acreage.
Okay. And I have no further questions after the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Brenton, we haven't seen the economics for these 1,280 wells, 8-acre spacing of wells yet. But when does Burlington or Conoco plan to drill these wells? And what I mean by that is, will it be drilled when the economic conditions are right, or will they be drilled if economic conditions are favorable when the rig is in the area to drill these other longer spacing units?
I would say the latter, but again, we have unleased federal mineral acreage that we're still working on, so they currently don't fit anywhere in our schedule right now as we work through those unleased federal tracks with the BLM.
Which is likely, well, we know it's an issue in some of the previous cases we heard today, so it's not that it's confined to this spacing unit. Okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
All right, Will, let's look at E1. How would you drill and complete the wells in the 1280?
Yeah, so this 10K wellbore schematic shows a similar 3-string well design with a 2 mile, 4.5 inch cemented liner. This would be completed with approximately 50 stages landed in the middle Bakken.
And then moving on to E2, can you summarize the reservoir data here?
Yeah, so we're looking at a 1280 aggregated reservoir and fluid data sheet, similar thickness and other properties. Drawing your attention down towards the bottom of this exhibit, you can see our estimated oil in place is around 5.6 million barrels. We expect these 10K wells to recover about just almost 360,000 barrels of oil. which would result in an oil recovery factor of approximately 6% per well.
Okay. And then the next exhibit, E3, what would economics look like for developing this spacing unit?
Yeah, so expecting these wells to cost around $7.5 billion each. We do anticipate these wells to still generate a positive rate of return, albeit a little thinner than the 15 20K wells as previously shown. We do think they are profitable and viable as shown.
Okay. So in your opinion, then, would establishment of this laydown 1280 prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent drilling unnecessary wells?
Yes, I do believe so.
I have no further questions that offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plant affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? That concludes our hearing for case number 32120. Case number 32210. Application of Marathon Oil Company for an order amending the applicable orders for the Wolf Bay and or Werner Bogdan pools to establish an overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 5, 8, 17, and 20, Township 146 North, Range 92 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize 6 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. Concludes our hearing for case number 32210. Case number 32211. Application of Marathon Oil Company for an order amending the applicable orders for the Moccasin Creek Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 14, 15, 22, and 23, Township 147 North, Range 93 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. Concludes our hearing for case number 32211. Case number 32212. Application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Indian Hill and or Elk Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 9, 16, and 21, Township 152 North, Range 102 West, Kenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC. Have 3 witnesses in this case: Cassidy Barr, John Prim, and Tyler Smith.
Ms. Barr,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Cassidy, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Cassidy Barr. I'm a landman with Cord Energy. Business address is 1001 Fannin Street, Houston, Texas, 77002.
Cassidy, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as adamant expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the line matters associated with the requested spacing unit?
Yes, sir.
I'd move the testimony of Ms. Barr be received as adamant expert.
Motion granted.
And Cassidy, let's look at L1. Can I have you identify the proposed spacing unit?
Exhibit L1 is a regional locator map of the lands associated with the proposed spacing. The red box represents our 2560 acre spacing proposal and outlines sections 4, 9, 16, and 21 in Township 152 North, Range 102 West.
Then moving on to L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Exhibit L2 shows the requested 2560 acre spacing where Cord has a working interest of 51.78%.
Okay. And then moving on to L3, let's go through working interest in those underlying spacing units.
All right, Exhibit L3 shows the underlying spacing units. The green dashed box outlines sections 4 and 9 in Township 152, Range 102 West, where Cord has a working interest of 60.12%. The red dashed box outlines section 16 and 21, where Ford has a working interest of 42.73%.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Prim,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
John, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is John Prim. I'm a geologist with Oasis Petroleum, business address 1001 Fannin Street, 15 Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And John, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes.
All right, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Prim be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
John, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this spacing unit?
Yes, G1 is an upper Bakken structure map showing the proposed spacing unit in the dashed yellow line with contour intervals of -25 or 25 feet in subsea TVD space, showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the southeast with an approximate average depth to Bakken under the proposed spacing unit of -8545 subsea TVD. Also to note is the type log that will be shown in G3, the Rayberg 1-8-2D, just to the west of the proposed spacing unit.
Okay. And then can you take us through your ISOPAC map, G2?
Yep, so this is a map over the same area with the proposed spacing unit outlined in orange, with this time with the contour intervals showing the middle Bakken ISOPAC thickness. There is a error that I just noticed right there. On the map, it lists the contour intervals as 25 feet subsea TVD. That was a carryover from the past exhibit. I apologize for that, but in this case, the contour intervals are 2 feet thickness, and what is showing that there's a slight thickening from the southwest of the proposed spacing unit to the northeast from approximately 30 to 34 feet with an average thickness of about 32 feet thick across the proposed unit.
Okay, and then go ahead and move on to G3 and tell us what you're showing on your type log.
Yeah, so G3 is a triple combo log of that Rayberg 1-8-2D, showing some of the subsurface properties that we expect underlying the proposed spacing unit.
All right, I have no further questions. I would offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Smith.
Sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Tyler, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yep. Tyler Smith. I'm a development engineer for Cord Energy, the parent company of Oasis Petroleum. Business address 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Tyler, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with this spacing unit?
Yes.
I'd move the testimony of Mr. Smith be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Tyler, let's look at E1. Can you tell us how you would intend to develop this spacing unit?
Yep. So Exhibit E1 shows Oasis plans to develop that 2560 acre spacing unit there with four mile laterals all being drilled from the south to the north with a new on lease pad location.
Okay. And then moving on to E2, can you summarize the reservoir data and then the economics?
Yep. So Exhibit E2, the top table kind of displays the reservoir properties used for the planned development. Focusing your attention on the middle table, you can see that the original oil in place was determined to be 6.2 million barrels per 640 acre unit there, yielding a EUR of 946 MBO per well. The bottom table reflects the per well economics with an $11.1 million capital investment and a rate of return of 55%, which kind of passes all of our internal metrics there.
So in your opinion, would establishment of the 2560 prevent waste, protect the allotted rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Concludes our hearing for case number 32212. Case number 32213. Applications of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the 8 Mile and or Indian Hill Bakken pools to establish 2 overlapping 1920 acre spacing units described as Section 1, Township 152 North, Range 103 West, and Sections 5 and 6, Township 152 North, Range 102 West, and Section 12, Township 152 North, Range 103 West, and Section 7 and 8, Township 152 North, Range 102 West, Williams and Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. Concludes our hearing for case number 32213. Case number 32214. Applications of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Temple Bakken pool to establish an overlapping 1920 acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 9, and 16, Township 159 North, Range 96 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC. We'll have Taylor Roberts testify in this case, and then John Prim again, and then Eva Tomova Medina.
Ms. Roberts.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Mr. Roberts, sorry.
Mr.
Do you solemnly
No
swear?
worries.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Taylor, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. Taylor Roberts, Senior Staff Landman at Oasis Petroleum North America, at business address 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Taylor, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the line matters associated with the proposed spacing units?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Roberts be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Taylor, let's look at L1, if I could have you identify the spacing unit.
Sure. L1's our regional locator map. The blue box outlines sections 4, 9, and 16 of Township 159 North, Range 96 West.
And then L2, what's your working interest in that spacing unit?
Sure. In the requested 1920 acre spacing unit, Oasis has a working interest of 35.38%.
Okay, and then moving on to L3, can you take us through the working interest in the underlying spacing?
Sure. Green dashed box outlining sections 4 and 9. Court has a working interest of 53.04% working interest and no working interest in section 16.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Prim is still under oath, so you can proceed.
All right. John, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this spacing unit?
Yep, G1 is showing the upper Bakken structure map with the proposed spacing unit highlighted in the orange dash box. It's showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to the south from approximately negative 6950 subsea TVD to negative 7250 subsea TVD in the south. Also shown there is the type log in the southeast corner of the proposed spacing unit. The total state 1-16.
All right. And then G2, let's go through your ISOPAP.
Yeah, so G2 over the same area, this time showing the thickness of the Middle Bakken Formation with contour intervals of 2 feet. It's showing that the Middle Bakken is thickening slightly from east to west across the proposed spacing unit from approximately 62 feet in the east to approximately 65 in the west area there, with an average of 63 feet thick across the proposed spacing unit.
And then on G3, can you describe what you're showing on your type log?
Yep, so G3 is showing that type log, the total state 1-16, centered over the reservoir interval, showing a triple combo reflecting the subsurface properties we expect to encounter underneath the proposed spacing unit.
Okay. I have no further questions at all for the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Ms. Tomova Medina,
Sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Eva, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Eva Timova Medina, and I'm a development engineer with Oasis Petroleum, address 1001 Fanning Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Eva, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
And had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And you're familiar with the engineering matters associated with these spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Tomova Medina be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Eva, let's look at E1. How would you propose to develop the spacing unit?
So the red box outlines the 1920 spacing unit we're proposing, and the purple sticks are representing the proposed Middle Bakken wellbores. The box there is showing our potential surface location on the north end of the unit on lease.
Okay. And then moving on to E2, if you could summarize for us your reservoir data and the economics.
Yep. So the reservoir properties are on the there. We're looking at EORs at around 610 MBO per well, and discounted PR10 of just under 0.7.
Okay. So even in your opinion, if this spacing unit gets established, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? That concludes our hearing for case number 32214. Case number 32215. Application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Alger Bakken pool to establish 2 overlapping laydown 38 40-acre spacing units described as sections 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, and 22, and sections 20, 21, 22, 27, 28, and 29, Township 156 North, Range 92 West, Montreal County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on each such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC. And it'll be Taylor, John, and Eva again on this case, Mr. Examiner.
And Mr. Underoath.
Okay. And Taylor, let's look at L1. Can you identify the 2 proposed spacing units you're requesting?
Sure. The green box outlines the laydown 3840 consisting of sections 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, and 22 of 156 North 92 West. And the orange box is the laydown 3840 consisting of sections 20, 21, 22, 27, 28, and 29 of 156 North 92 West.
Okay. Then moving on to L2, what's your working interest in that 3840?
Sure. That 3840 previously discussed about the green box, Oasis has approximately working interest of 39.01%.
And then on L3, can you highlight the working interest in those underlying spacing units?
Sure. The green dash box being section 22, Oasis has a working interest of 98.6, and the red dash box outlining sections 20 and 21, Oasis has a working interest of approximately 68%.
Okay. And then L4, the other 3840, take us through your working interest there.
Sure. Oasis has a 39.01% working interest again, and the orange dash box consisting of sections 20, 21, 22, 27, 28, 29.
And then looking at L5, can you take us through the working interest in the underlying spacing units there?
Sure. Same section, same coloring. Green dash box, section 22. Oasis has a 98.6% working interest in the red dash box outlining sections 20 and 21. Oasis has approximately a 68% working interest.
Okay. And Taylor, will Oasis work with the other working interest owners with respect to operatorship on each of those proposed 3840s?
Yes, conversations with EOG and Hess have been made.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the land exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right, John. Let's look at G1. Describe the structure underlying these proposed spacing units.
Yep, so this is the Upper Bakken structure map in subsea TBD space with contour intervals of 25 feet, showing the proposed overlapping spacing units highlighted in the green and yellow dash boxes there. It is showing that the Bakken formation is dipping off to this southwest, from approximately negative 7,300 subsea TBD in the east to negative 7,500 subsea TBD in the west. Also to note is that type log approximately 1.5 miles to the east of the proposed spacing units, the RS Nelson Farms 156-92-24B-1.
Okay, and then can you take us through your ISOPAC map on G2?
Yep, so this is a ISOPAC map showing the thickness of the middle Bakken underlying the proposed spacing units, and is showing that the middle Bakken is thickening from east to west from approximately 40 feet thick in the east to approximately 52 feet in the west, for approximate average thickness across the proposed spacing units of 46 feet thick.
Okay. And then G3, can you describe what you're showing on your type log?
Yep, so G3 is that RS Nelson Farms 156-92-24B-1. It's a triple combo log centered over the reservoir interval, showing the subsurface properties we expect underlying the proposed spacing units.
All right. I have no further questions after the geology exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right, Eva, let's look at E1, and can you tell us how you develop, I guess, what I'll call the northern 3840?
Yes, sir. So here again, the red box is showing the whole section line corridor on the north for the north section line well, and the purple is our middle Bakken 3-mile well. We're planning on drilling this from the existing pad that we have built there, highlighted with the box.
Sure. And then let's shift down to the south, that southern section line well 3840. How would that get developed?
Yep, so the southern section line well, also highlighted in the red box. It will be drilled from the same pad. It will be a large step out, but we have completed a few of these already and feel confident we can get this done from the original or the built pad.
Sure. Let's move on into E3. If you can summarize the reservoir data and then your economics on these.
Yes, sir. So the reservoir data is there at the top. We're looking at well, EOR is at around 610 MBO with, again, discounted PR10 of just under 7.7.
And even your opinion, if the commission were to establish these two spacing units to allow that development, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
When was the planned development of these two wells? Or when is?
So currently, they are on the schedule for late 2026. I'll give you, actually middle, July of 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Eva, I believe section 22 is a 640 acre spacing unit.
Yes, sir.
What other development is going to take place with the drilling of these proposed lease line horizontal wells?
So we're planning one of our alternate shapes to develop sections 22, and we're under the evaluation currently to determine which one it would be. So the section 22 will be developed at the same time with these section line corridors. We just don't know what shape yet.
So the southern lease line horizontal well, just in general, what is your wellbore? I guess in the vertical, what is your wellbore design?
We don't have it designed yet, but we have completed one similarly to this one recently. We've drilled and it's scheduled to frac here early next year. So we can look at that design and send it over, or create a new design for this if you need specifics or supplemental exhibits.
No, I don't need specifics, but I mean, is it going to be drilled deviated fairly high in the vertical and then a tangent drill to get to the south boundary?
Yes. We'll do all the directional work in the vertical, and we ended up minimizing dog legs and sliding quite a bit on the one that we just completed.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes our hearing for case number 32215. Case number 32216. Application of Hesbakken Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Ross Bakken Pool, Montreal County, North Dakota, to 1. Establish 2 overlapping laydown 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 35 and 36, Township 156 North, Range 92 West, Section 31, Township 156 North, Range 91 West, and Sections 25 and 26, Township 156 North, Range 92 West, and Section 30, Township 156 North, Range 91 West, and authorize 5 horizontal wells to be drilled in each such unit. 2. Establish an overlapping laydown 38-40 acre spacing unit described as sections 25, 26, 35, and 36, Township 156 North, Range 92 West, and Sections 30 and 31, Township 156 North, Range 91 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit. Or 3. Granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 32216. Case number 32217. Application of Murex Petroleum Corp. For an order amending the applicable orders for the Alcabo and or Clinton Bakken pools, Divide County, to 1. Extend the field outline to include sections 25 and 36, Township 162 North, Range 102 West, within the Alcabo Bakken pool. 2. Terminate a 1280 acre spacing unit described as sections 13 and 24, Township 162 North, Range 102 West. 3. Establish a 1920 acre spacing unit described as sections 24, 25, and 36, Township 162 North, Range 102 West, and authorize 5 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit. And 4. Granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Murex Petroleum Corporation. I have 2 witnesses in this case, and it will be Jake Scott and Scott Nonoff.
Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Jake, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Jake Scott, staff landman, employed by Merrick's Petroleum Corporation with the business address of 1700 City Plaza Drive, Suite 575, Spring, Texas 77389.
And Jake, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
And had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with this proposed spacing unit?
Yes, sir.
All right, I've moved the testimony of Mr. Scott be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Jake, let's start with Exhibit 1. Can you identify the area of the proposed spacing unit?
Sure. Exhibit 1 is a zoomed out version of our regional locator map. The red box highlighting the requested 1920 acre spacing unit consisting of Township 162-102, sections 24, 25, and 36.
All right. And then looking at Exhibit 2, can you identify the spacing unit for us you're asking for?
Absolutely. The same red box, Township 162-102, sections 24, 25, and 36 as our requested spacing.
And then moving on to Exhibit 3, can you take us through your working interest?
Sure. Again, 162-102, 24, 25, and 36, giving Merrick's Petroleum a working interest of 47.8%.
I have no further questions. I offer Exhibits 1 through 3.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Jake, on Exhibit 2, where's your surface location?
Currently, our proposed surface location would be in the southeast corner of Section 36.
And sections 13 and 24 are currently a stand-up 1,280 acre drilling unit, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So if this application is approved, what's going to happen to section 13?
Currently, it would be option to drill a 1920 of 112 and 13 at some point.
Does Merrick's plan to make that application?
Currently, we are not.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have it at this time.
My question was, do you plan to make that application?
Currently, at this time, we do.
You do?
We do not.
Do not. Okay, thank you.
Wade, be wrong, but on your very first page of your exhibit, I just want to ensure that is it supposed to be sections 24, 25, and 36, not 33 as indicated? Your very front.
What are you looking at?
Page.
Sorry.
Your cover page. Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's a typo. Yeah, it's 24, 25, and 36. I didn't see.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Nonhoff,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Scott, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Scott Nonhoff, Murex Petroleum. I'm a vice president of Reservoir Engineering. Address is 1700 City Plaza Drive, Suite 575, Spring, Texas 77389.
And Scott, have you previously testified before this commission?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert with respect to geology and engineering related matters?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the geology and engineering related matters associated with this requested spacing unit?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Nonhoff be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Scott, let's look at exhibit number 4. Can you describe the structure underlying this proposed spacing unit?
So this is the structure map on the Upper Bakken, southeast dip across the area, and everything is mapped on 50-foot contours.
Okay. And then moving on to Exhibit 5, what are you showing us on that exhibit?
This is a cross-section line that we'll show on Exhibit 6.
And then let's move on to that cross-section, Exhibit 6. Can you describe what you're showing us on that exhibit?
So this is the cross-section across the area showing the homogeneous layering of the Bakken. The upper Bakken, the target saying here is between 50 and 60 feet thick. It is all hung, this cross-section is hung on the base of the first Bakken shale.
Okay. And Scott, Section 24 is currently an elkable field, and as part of the relief requested in the application was to extend that to include Sections 25 and 36, and to establish that 1920. In your opinion, is the Bakken pool underlying 25 and 36 part of the same common source of supply as underlying Section 24?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then before we go on to 7, can I have you circle back to Exhibit 2 real quick? And if you could, on that exhibit, kind of walk us through what your plan of development would look like on the requested 1920.
So Murex currently operates the Valley Roberts in Section 1 to the south. We have the option to set up on that location and drill 5 wells to the north, or as proposed here, we will set up in the southwest section of 36 and drill what we're calling the Alcabo DSU, and then the DSU to the east of that from the same pad.
Okay. Then let's.
And the,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
The DSU to the east has not been approved yet, or for development on 1920s, but we are proposing it.
Okay. Let's move on then back to exhibit number 7, and if you could summarize the reservoir data and then what the economics look like.
The upper portion of this is simply the reservoir parameters, the porosity, water saturations, etc., showing recoverable reserves of 1.7 million barrels per 1920. And then the economics here are ran on $9.6 million investment with operating costs of just under $50,000. Wellhead price is a little bit aggressive right now. When we built this, we were closer to 70 than we are 55 now. So, but it's still, even at the current prices, an economic return in our evaluations. At $70 oil, we're looking at a 30% rate of return.
Sure. And then looking at Exhibit 8, how would you propose to drill and complete the wells on the spacing unit?
It's just a standard 3-mile lateral. We're going to drill, we have 80 different stages and have in the neighborhood of 15 million barrels of profit.
And Scott, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve the 1920 to allow for this development, would that prevent waste, protect wildlife rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
It would.
Okay, I have no further questions for the exhibits. This would be 4 through 9, which includes the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Wait, on your exhibit 9, you have the same typo, I believe, where it should be section 36.
Yeah, that's correct. It would be 24 to
Yeah.
36.
Scott, what's your anticipated spud date for these wells?
Right now, it's the end of 2026.
What's the interwell spacing goal that you're trying to achieve on these?
Around 1,100 feet between wells, 1056.
Okay, thank you.
On Exhibit 2, I just heard the answer to the question that David asked, but on Exhibit 2, it doesn't appear like they're evenly spaced. Is that just kind of a visual?
That's
they're expecting.
That's a function. That's a function of the mapping.
Mapping. Okay, so you expect them to be evenly spaced and within
Yes, sir.
within all the
Yes, sir.
setbacks. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Scott, if it was testified to, I apologize, but what's the target for these wells?
Middle Bakken, upper Middle Bakken.
The spacing unit you referenced to the east, has that been applied for?
What was the last part of that?
I said the spacing unit you referenced to the east, has that been applied for?
It is not yet. That's next month.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes our hearing for case number 32217. Moving to the supplement. Case number 31928. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bully Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 1920 acre spacing unit described as sections 25 and 36, Township 148 North, Range 99 West, and Section 1, Township 147 North, Range 99 West, Mackenzie County, and authorize 6 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit and granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31928. Case number 31929. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bully Bakken Pool, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, to 1. Establish 2 overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing units described as sections 1, 12, 13, and 24, and sections 2, 11, 14, and 23. Township 148 North, Range 99 West, and authorize 6 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit. 2. Establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 1, 2, 11, 12, 13, 14, 23, and 24. Township 148 North, Range 99 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled in such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. Concludes our hearing for case number 31929. Case number 31930. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bully and or Haystack Butte Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 1, 12, 13, and 24, Township 148 North, Range 99 West, and sections 6, 7, 18, and 19, Township 148 North, Range 98 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled in such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31930. Case number 31977. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Bully and or Haystack Butte Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 25 and 36, Township 148 North, Range 99 West, sections 30 and 31, Township 148 North, Range 98 West, sections 1 and 12, Township 147 North, Range 99 West, and sections 6 and 7, Township 147 North, Range 98 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our November hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31977. That concludes our hearings for the day.